after watching the Scrubby video. So this one's I'm just gonna call this what if Deku had two quirks, two special quirks, or I'll call it what if Deku was a survivor, because Deku's gonna spend time in the woods while growing up, and I decided not to make him 12. I'll just continuously make him get stronger whenever he's 8. And then I might time skip, and he might be like a warrior then. But yeah. So I left off with Deku just trying to regrow and trying to enhance his healing. Now Deku, he can regenerate fingers in about a minute, and the whole hand in about 5 minutes. Which is pretty good regenerating. And all that. But this is whenever he would go out, and he's been improving on his creation skills. He would make a sword that fits his size and all that. With him, I'll say, been able to enhance his wind by killing low tier ones, and maybe one mid tier that was a leader of one, which would damage him a lot. And this is when we're walking around instead of going straight from the hole, which he has gotten like a trail with like a rope or something like that. Something that can mark areas. But he would encounter a snake. It's like one of the beginner snakes, because there's a giant snake in the desert, which it's pretty rare to find them in the forest, but usually they're python looking ones. But this one's a black python, which is the rarest kind. Or I'll just call it a python, but because these ones are poisonous and really strong. And it's pretty much like a python that can swallow, but like twice the size or 5 times thick. It's pretty much gigantic, but not gigantic as the one in the desert. Deku would pull out his sword, which is pretty much like Malleus' sword, but bigger. And that's whenever he would get his hand ready. He would put a ball of wind in his hand. This is to disturb, like shock it. And after that wind, he would put fire into it, and he would start spinning it faster. He would jump out, slicing off the end of its tail, making it turn around. It goes to attack him, and it's about to bite him, and its mouth's big enough to swallow a grown man instantly without any problems. Like the Naruto one. Naruto, the one that swallowed him. That's kind of the size it is, but it's black. With him shooting the blast, blowing its mouth and burning it quite a bit. Deku spins, and his strength is, I say he's been destroying rock golems, which there are rock creatures, but these ones have strong durability and strength, which is what it gave Deku the most of. This was whenever Deku would have took his blade, slicing a bit of it, and that's when Deku would get hit with, not the end of the tail, but because he cut quite a bit, not a lot off, but with quite a bit, he would get smacked with Deku just blocking with one arm, hitting the tree, using an air jump, swinging and spinning, and that's whenever it's gonna bite him, but Deku would dodge into the other direction, and that's whenever he would go aiming for the neck, but that's whenever whenever it touches its skin, some purple gas would come out, making Deku use wind to blow it away. And that's when the snake's using its poison. With Deku, he pretty much, he would put a bubble of air around his face. He would charge at it again, aiming for its tail to slide up it. He would jump on top of it, which every time something touches his skin now, it would eject poison. So he has to air jump and run faster and faster to get up there. And that's whenever he would take his blade and he would put it into it using fire. And he would continuously jump. And eventually he would slide all the way up it with or he would slice it over and over. And that's whenever he'll be jumping at it. And that's when the snake would swallow him. With Deku saying, finally stabbing his knife into it, saying, flame nuke. Blowing up with all the holes engulfing with flames. And all that. And he has a wind barrier around him to block off all the poison. And this would cause an explosion. If you guys be wondering how doesn't he set off the forest, Deku has just been pouring, he just takes out his flames because he can do flames like that. Like, all that, man. He could take them out. He would pop the snake pretty much. And he would grab the head. And this snake was probably sort of like the king, one of the kings of the forest. There's a snake, spider, and wolf. And I'll say it's something really quick. Something really, not really stronger, but it's really quick. He would kill it, and the snake gives him a new attribute that he never had before. Swiftness. That pretty much gives him the ability to move in almost weird directions, kind of like a snake while running. Normally, if you run full speed, you probably can't turn in weird directions, but Deku gains a special ability to do that. And he also gains poison, which he coats in his... He can't do the body poison, but he can use poison on his blade. That's it. And I'll say he also poisons his spit, but it's mostly used to spit in people's eyes. But it'll just damage their eyes, making them blind. But yeah, after saying this, Deku durability would hand it up, but he'll still have some bruises which he would regenerate from. And because of this, he would be pretty strong. Deku's speed, I'll just go ahead and tell you what this quickness is. It's sort of like a mixture of lions and jaguars and all that. It's pretty much the true king of cats, because it's all of them except the regular cat, but because I don't know what they would give for him. But this thing is on par with the wolves. But the wolves are considered the strongest because of their numbers. And I'll say there's only 5 of these. King Beast are just true lions. I'll just call them lions from now on. But yeah, there's only 5 of them, including the boss one. And they cover, let me explain. So the snake covers the area like north, or he would cover south. Wolf would cover north. Spider would cover west. And south east would be covered by the lion. But yeah, Deku will come back. And if you guys are wondering what would be the spider's ability, because it is there are poisonous spiders. But I'm gonna make this spider a spider of pretty much he won't get web abilities, but he would get more thread abilities, sticky thread and all that. And he'll also gain the ability to use like, how do I explain this? It's kind of like spider vision. Because how far can spider, or it'll be kind of like spidey sense and spider vision, which I don't know how far spiders can look. So they can almost see 360 degrees. I'll just up that up to 360 so you can see all around. But he doesn't have this yet and all that, so it pretty much makes him unsneakable. But he doesn't grow extra eyes, I'll just tell you that. He just gains the ability. But in this forest, the spiders are the second largest group from the wolves, because the wolves just have a lot. Or I'll say, yeah, no, the spiders have the most. The wolf have the second. The lions have the third, and the snake, they don't have, there's only one other. I'll just say that. But that one was the weaker one of it, so it would be weaker. Deku would cross out that area because pretty much every animal would flee from there because they think either a new boss is there and they don't have agreement with him, or that one could be mean, or some kind of hunters are hunting over there. But I'll say they won't go to the lions, they would go to the lions but not the wolves, because wolves have been dying too and all that. But Deku would say next target spiders. And the spiders, he would cross a mark on them. And he would think, what's so special about the spider? He goes some research on spiders, and he searches up like the monster spiders, and they say that their vision's so hard that they can't be sneaked up on. They have traps all over, and they have really tough skin and stuff like that, and it can't be cut by a blade. Deku's like, what the hell? I can't cut it with a blade, so I guess that means my blade's useless. Putting it back into him, and he thinks I'll just crack its shell. He thinks that I need more strength, and he'll go grinding on these pretty golems, and he would gain a lot of strength. But he's like, I need more swiftness, and he would go killing snakes. He wants to upgrade his. He would look on the Pokemon Dex and look for fire types, and there's only one more fire type in there, in the whole thing, and this one is found underground caves, and they're known as hellhounds because they live underground, and because it is RPG world, I'll say they live by lava, and they need really hot areas. And I'll say there's not frost, what am I talking about? But yeah, and their weakness is ice and stuff like that. He'll be like, that's pretty far away, making a marker on the table. And Deku's mom and dad just thinks that he's training because they think he's just training his flame quirk, because he comes back even stronger every day. It hasn't been getting much stronger now since his levels on the slimes have been going down a lot. And I'll say that's whenever he stops getting the slimes, and this is whenever, because they're not doing much, and he thinks, if I get any new abilities, I need more stamina, and that's whenever he would create the mouse spawner. And this one, it's not really like it automatically kills them. What he does, he feeds them, got them reproduce. He pretty much has a farm of these, and because they reproduce really fast, almost as fast as slimes, there'll be about 100 of them, and he would put the cage up. He would take out his blade, and they grow. Monsters in this grow really quickly, so yeah, so the stronger monsters just take a lot of time to birth, because since they're birthed, a grown, like if a dragon has one, it'll become a grown dragon instantly. So yeah. So he would pretty much, these monsters just have some kind of program to attack humans. So they would go attack him with Deku taking his blade out, holding it, focusing fire, and he would swing, saying Hell Flame Divider, cutting off quite a bit of their heads or slicing pieces off, killing them either way. And he'll start kicking them and taking them down. Right now, his strength is not like a regular human's. He's around like a enhancement strength. Not like a giant enhancement, but like at least 20 times a man that works out for 6 hours a day. And everything. So he's pretty fast and pretty strong. But his strength is different. I'll say in this. But yeah, so he would figure which one he should go first. He says, I don't know much about hellhounds, so I'll just grind on some spiders. He would. And there are, the weakest spiders only have regular threads, sticky threads. Mid-tier spiders have iron threads, which these ones are not cuttable for people, but they can be used as sort of stops, like guards, and they can also be, if a spider wants, they figured out a way to whip them around on trees by jumping on them, making them into metal whips, which Deku would have a lot of endurance, or a lot of defense, so he would just run through it with his arms up covering his face. And yeah, and you start beating down some, because he's cracking them with a bat, I'll say, but like a fully metalled bat, which would cost a lot of his metal, but he can always get it back, but it's whatever. And he would be kind of cracking the stuff open. And he also comes up with an ability, or he comes up with the idea to boil them alive, sort of, more like flame them alive, or completely burn them alive by heating up their shells. It would cause them to kind of just die from it. So yeah, and I'll say these spiders live by the most bushiest part of the forest. So yeah, this is kind of dangerous, but he can still take out fires. But yeah, he can ignite a whole bunch of them and burn them with a lot of energy. But he has a lot more stamina from the mice. So yeah, he'll just be grinding. This is where I leave it off. Goodbye.